one weapon could do the job. A handheld heat-seeking missile called the Stinger. In the mid-1980s, the U.S. began covertly supplying Stingers to the Mujahideen. The balance of power began to shift.
For a Stinger, helicopter is just a sitting duck. If it is within the range of the Stinger, then the Stinger operator, will aim it. Aim at a Stinger, then go for a super elevation, then he will make adjustment according to the movement of the helicopter. Then you fire, and you will see a big explosion. Flames and smoke will go up.
For a period of about 100 days after the introduction of the Stinger, the Soviets were losing one aircraft per day. One aircraft per day. This drove this into the high-cost arena in a hurry. And as a matter of fact, the impact of these kinds of losses was significant from a number of ways. Not only the hardware losses, but the fact that morale started to go down. Transport pilots wouldn't fly. For a period just prior to the removal, extrication of Soviet forces, Stinger gave Mujahideen a decided edge.
The Soviets were vulnerable to the Stinger, but the Mujahideen had little to fear from Soviet smart weapons. After all, they had no tanks or aircraft for smart weapons to hit. The lesson of Afghanistan was bad news for U.S. military planners. If the Soviets could be neutralized by smart weapons, then so could we.
If you have that feeling to sacrifice for your country, then I think superpower or no superpower, it cannot stop you. If you're willing to die, that is the most important thing. But if with that feeling is combined with a smart weapon, then the superpower is gone.
We used to see industrialized nations, if you want to go back to the 18th and 19th century, who were able to easily overwhelm primitive nations, and that's the way that empires were built. But today, there's not such a great difference. The gap is closing.
Smart weapons are proliferating rapidly. Many of the Stingers sent to the Mujahideen wound up in countries hostile to the U.S., like Iran.
It would be easier to probably say who didn't have smart weapons and try to list all of those that do have smart weapons. Smart weapons are supplied by all the industrial nations in the world. For example, the United States, Soviet Union, France, certainly, Italy, Israel, Brazil,